Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
For years, I was one of the faces of MegaFix Solutions, MFS, a sprawling home services conglomerate. I installed their cutting-edge smart home systems, including their advanced climate control units. I knew their procedures, their paperwork, and the internal politics like the back of my hand. I left on good terms, but always remembered the company's growing arrogance as it expanded. Then came the summer from hell. My high-end smart home climate control system, installed by MFS under their premium EliteCare service contract, decided to conk out during a brutal heatwave. My house became an oven, and with my elderly parents visiting, it was quickly becoming a health hazard. I called MFS for emergency service, confident my EliteCare contract, which guaranteed comprehensive repairs and necessary updates, would cover it. Instead, I was met with a brick wall of corporate speak. The MFS representative informed me that a mandatory system firmware upgrade was required, and it would cost me $500, entirely outside my contract. I cited the contract's explicit terms, which clearly stated all repairs and necessary updates were covered for the system's life. They became dismissive, telling me it was company policy, and they wouldn't dispatch a technician until I paid. My anger simmered. Not only was I being held hostage in my own sweltering home, but they were flagrantly disregarding their own contractual obligations. I was furious. I wasn't just hot, I was being defrauded. I knew MFS's contracts inside out from my years working there, and this firmware upgrade clause was pure fiction. I wasn't going to let them get away with it. I immediately called an independent local HVAC contractor. They came out, quickly diagnosed a faulty component, replaced it, and had my system running for $1,200. I made sure to get a detailed invoice, documenting that the firmware upgrade was never needed, and the actual issue was a simple, covered repair. My plan was simple. I was going to make MFS pay for their arrogance. I filed a small claims suit against them for the $1,200 I'd spent, plus the cost of my EliteCare contract, and compensation for the sheer inconvenience. The first court date arrived. I showed up in a suit meticulously organized, armed with my contract, invoices, and detailed notes. MFS, in their infinite wisdom, sent Clarence, a regional operations manager, to represent them. He was in casual slacks and a polo, looking utterly unprepared. The judge, a no-nonsense woman, immediately asked Clarence if he was an attorney. He sheepishly admitted he was not. She then patiently explained that MFS, as a corporation, needed to be represented by either a registered agent, a chief executive, or a hired lawyer. Clarence, clearly flustered, tried to offer to send a tech immediately to resolve my issues, which to me was an admission of guilt. The judge, seeing this, decided to continue the case for 2 weeks to give MFS time to get proper representation. 2 weeks later, I was back in court. Clarence was there again, still no lawyer. I informed the judge that my system had been fixed by a third party, but I was still seeking the $1,200 for the repair, plus my court filing fees of $75. Clarence, still trying to argue MFS's side without legal standing, claimed the company shouldn't be responsible for my costs. The judge, clearly in a hurry that day, sighed and declared, "To avoid further delay, we'll split the filing fees, $37.50 to the plaintiff." I was annoyed. In my state, the prevailing party gets all costs. But I thought, fine, I'll take the $1,237.50 and be done. A few days later, I received a condescending email from Sharon, an MFS paralegal, confirming they'd pay the $37.50 and consider the matter closed. I replied, citing the state law about full cost recovery, and gently suggested they pay the full $75, or I'd have to appeal, costing them significantly more. Their response? A curt email stating they'd abide by the court's judgment only. They truly believed I was bluffing. They had no idea who they were dealing with. I immediately filed an appeal to the circuit court, the big boy court as we called it. This cost me another $150, bringing my total sought to $1,200, plus $75, plus $150, totaling $1,425. I was committed. At the circuit court, the judge, a man known for his sharp wit and intolerance for corporate games, was initially cordial. I presented my case, detailing MFS's contractual breach and the lower court's error in splitting the fees. Then, to my utter disbelief, Clarence showed up again. This time he had a letter from MFS's general counsel, supposedly authorizing him to represent the company. The judge's demeanor shifted instantly. His voice, though still calm, had an edge of steel. "MegaFix Solutions does not dictate who represents them in my courtroom," he stated, his eyes narrowing. "You require a licensed attorney. This case will be continued for you to secure one." He turned to me. "Ms., do you object to a continuance?" I looked at Clarence, then back at the judge, a wave of righteous satisfaction washing over me. "Yes, Your Honor, I strongly object," I said firmly. "MegaFix Solutions has been explicitly told 3 times now, across 2 courts, that they need proper legal counsel. They have repeatedly disrespected these courts by sending an unqualified individual to argue on their behalf. I have already incurred significant costs and inconvenience due to their arrogance." The judge smiled, a genuinely satisfied, almost predatory grin. He turned back to a pale Clarence. "Sorry, Mr. Clarence," he said, with an exaggerated shrug that spoke volumes. "The plaintiff's objection is sustained." He then entered judgment in my favor for the full $1,425. MFS had finally been put in their place. But the corporate arrogance wasn't quite done. 30 days passed and no check arrived. I emailed Sharon, the paralegal, who replied that MFS was exploring their options. They clearly thought they could ignore a circuit court judgment. They had forgotten one crucial detail. I used to work for them. I knew their payroll. I contacted my old credit union, looked up an old ACH transaction from my MFS paychecks, and confirmed their bank, United Fidelity Bank. I went straight back to court and filed garnishment proceedings against MFS via United Fidelity Bank. Within days, that check for $1,425 arrived. The satisfaction was immense. MFS's contempt for the legal system and their customers cost them more than just money. It publicly exposed their hubris and incompetence. Clarence likely faced severe repercussions, and I heard whispers through old contacts that the incident was a black mark on MFS's regional operations. Justice had not only been served, it had been garnished directly from their corporate coffers. It's a stark reminder that even the biggest corporations aren't above the law, and sometimes a little insider knowledge is all you need to ensure true justice is served.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.